Deep within the forest, far from any major city, stands an abandoned summer camp known as Camp Cedar. Today, very few people know it exists. It doesn't appear on tourist maps, and locals avoid mentioning it altogether. Officially, the camp was shut down in the late 1980s following a tragic incident. But authorities never explained what had happened. Documents disappeared from the archives. Reports were sealed. And everyone who worked at the camp that summer refused to talk about it. Still, the local residents tell a different story. That summer, more than 100 children were staying at Camp Cedar. At first, everything seemed normal. There were games during the day, sports competitions, and campfire gatherings at night. Nothing suggested that anything was wrong. Then one night, everything changed. At around 3 o'clock in the morning, the counselors were awakened by the sound of the camp bugle. It made no sense. Wake-up call wasn't until sunrise. At first, they assumed it was a prank. But when they stepped outside, they saw something terrifying. The children were standing in the middle of the camp square, barefoot, still wearing their pajamas, silently facing the forest. No one spoke. No one moved. The counselors called out to them. They asked what was happening, but the children didn't respond. Then, every child slowly turned toward the trees and began walking into the forest, calmly, silently, as if something was calling them. The staff rushed after them, but the darkness of the forest quickly separated everyone. They could hear footsteps, branches snapping, children laughing, and voices. But no one could understand what the voices were saying. By sunrise, the search had come to an end. Some children were eventually found, terrified, unable to remember what had happened. But many others vanished without a trace. No one knows exactly how many children disappeared that night. Some say 7, others insist it was more than 30. There are no official records. Soon after, Camp Cedar was permanently closed. Years passed. The cabins began to decay. The playgrounds disappeared beneath the weeds. And the forest slowly reclaimed the camp. Yet the place still exists. And the few people who have visited it since its closure tell the same story. At night, laughter echoes between the abandoned buildings. Sometimes it's running footsteps, sometimes whispers, as if children are still playing there. But there's one detail that everyone agrees on. No one can understand what the voices are saying. The words sound distorted, as if they are coming from beneath deep water. Some claim that if you listen long enough, you'll hear your own name among the voices, followed by a quiet plea asking you to help them find their way home. The locals avoid the forest surrounding Camp Cedar, not because of wild animals and not because of the abandoned buildings. They say they aren't afraid of the dead, because the dead are supposed to remain silent. But at Camp Cedar, the children still laugh, and what they fear most is the day they hear the voice of their own child among them.